Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are in this world. This is Hejin Lee with a morning update for Bitcoin. I think this turned out pretty nicely. The left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder. The symmetry on the shoulders were not as good as it should be, but it passed. But at the same time, this generated a symmetrical triangle. And usually when a symmetrical triangle occurs, it's a point of indecision. However, a inverted head and shoulders is not necessarily the same of point of indecision. So when you get this kind of combination of patterns, especially in this type where you see your head and shoulders inverted and a symmetrical triangle, it helps you to kind of see that the propensity will likely lean towards the upside. So while the symmetrical triangle might be neutral, the inverted head and shoulders gives you the propensity evidence that it'll be more to the upside, and that's exactly what happened. And basically, for me, a pattern needs to be complete and confirmed. So when the right shoulder reached, I thought it might be here, but it didn't. But when it reached again, it's complete. But so let's say in the first instance, it reached, now it's complete, and I start piling it on. You got faked out. You want to wait for the price to breach the neckline. The breaching of the neckline will be the confirmation. And the purple line is saying that we should go to 67.12. So that is the target that I have for this small inverted head and shoulders pattern. How does that fit into the bigger picture? Well, if we bring the 3 and the 4 back, already it's looking 3 wavish. So let me get rid of these lines. There you go. Already it's looking 3 wavish. What do I mean by that? Look, A, B, C. So in the A we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the B we have A, B, C, or W, X, Y. And now we're looking at the C wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's go back to the close-up and see that again. So in this, the 3 wavishness should be quite apparent. We've got the A, W, X, Y for B, and C. Okay. And this ABC is probably a zigzag. And that'll look like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. And then the B wave is very sideways. See how sideways it's going? It doesn't have direction like this. It doesn't have direction like the A and the C would have in an impulse sequence. So this is likely a W, X, and a Y. That usually means that each of the W, X, and Y waves has to be a 3, 3, and a 3. So you can probably, let me zoom this in actually. Should have done that earlier. So you can probably see A, B, C. Look how the C breaks down into 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Beautiful. Okay. The W, you can say A, B, and C. And if you really want to drill into that, it'll look like this. Let me just for a didactic purpose, label this as A, B, C. Okay. You might want to, for the subwaves of the blue X, you might be thinking, oh, this is very sideways. This has got to be a WX, Y, or XZ. You can call it this. You can say you got W, X, Y, X, Z. Okay? And that probably will be correct, technically, per the rules. Because you have 3, 3, 3, and 3. But I think this Z is a 5. I think it's a 5 because it is 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. And because of that, my preference will not be a WXYXZ triple combination, but it'll still maintain as an ABC A, B, C for B, and a C, and that C wave will have those nice 5 subwaves, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so now I have the W, X, and the Y. And the Y is probably, again, an ABC. You can see the ABC zigzagginess. And if we drill this into 15 minutes or even 5 minutes if we have to, and split this 1 hour bar into the 5-minute components, we'll see the 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so now we've dissected this to 1, 2, 3 degrees of trend. 1, 2, 3 degrees of trend. Okay, then if this is an A, W, X, Y, B, we've got a C going on. And that C wave has to be in 5 subwaves. And these 5 waves could say that we are at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. In other words, we are either done or pretty darn close to it. So this will be one scenario. Okay. The second scenario will be that C will go up to here. According to the inverted head and shoulders, we're still working on the 3, 4, and 5. And this means that we have 1, 2, and then the subwaves of 1 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then we'll have probably a bit of a correction and rise to 67, 6600-ish. Note how I also said, and from now on I will write texts like this so that you know what the alternate of this micro count might be like. I always forget to get my degree of trend labels correct. I'm sorry, I apologize for that. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 potentially, or I would prefer 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Higher highs. The higher high will be at around 66, 6700. According to the inverted head and shoulders pattern, which I will not draw in here. It'll just look a lot more confusing and messy. But this is the surgical dissection of what I think might be a zigzag form of an ABC correction of 5, 3, 5. So 5, 3, 5. Like I said, there are many ways to count one sequence. And obviously one can say, well, imagine I see this as 1, WXY, 2, and I see this as 3. Beautiful. Good count. Technically correct. However, if that's the case, if we are looking at a trend reversal effect, I ask you the same question I've been asking. Where's the volume? If this is wave 1, 2, and 3 of a trend reversal, this volume should be up here in this region. The Elliott wave count is correct. If you say we have 1, WXY is 2, and we're working on 3, 4, and 5. Beautiful. But without the volume surging well beyond the trend line, that's not the count that I would go by. In other words, the trend is still down. The count I would go by is that this is a corrective bounce. Okay, so that's the primary. Going back to this primary, we have A, B, C. Do you see that? Pun intended. And this three-wave-ish looking sequence is very visually fits the form of an ABC, as you can tell. And I think if primary wise, my conjecture is that the ending diagonal would mean that we have a wave 2 coming, and it'll probably end in this line of the resistance. This correction will probably be contained in this line of the resistance. And voila, look, this line of the resistance sits at around 6672 or 6700 rounded off. And that was the minimum of this head and shoulders. It may poke and come back in. Fine. Remember that wave 1 and 2 can exceed as much as it wants, just can't equal the origin of 1, which is at 74.35. So yes, this can go all, 2 can go all the way up here if it wants. But I don't think so, because there's too much resistance and not enough volume supporting a rise to something like that. Now again, that's the primary count. The alternate scenario, well, could we be seeing the onset of a wave 3 right here? Could we be seeing the start early nascent impulse sequences of a wave 3 of 3, white of the green 3? If that's the case, then this wave 1 was a leading diagonal of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, allowing the overlap. Therefore, we have 1, 2, and then 3, 4, and 5. I mean, no one would be happier to see this scenario play out. Emotionally, I get it. I'm with you on this. I want this to happen. But as an analyst, a disciplined trader or an investor, it's not what you want. The market couldn't care about what you want. Okay? You have to go based on what you think, not what you feel. I can tell you, I know so many who have already splattered their face into the pavement, bringing their accounts to zero by trading on gut feeling. I think if you get to a certain level of trading or investing experience, and you consistently turn out profits on your trades, more winning than losing trades, while you are buying and selling or holding, you will feel those impulses of FOMO, those impulses of fear. The feelings will be there, but you will be above it. But you will act. Your actions will be based on how you think, and not based on those poking feelings of fear and greed and FOMO. And I think that's when you probably know you've reached a certain level of maturity as a trader. A great indication of good maturity of a trader is if you happen to have a losing trade, you don't go out and kick the dog. You don't go out and blame another analyst. You don't go out and take out your negative feelings on somebody else. That is emotional immaturity, a lack of discipline. A trader of that state will never be successful. And almost everyone's begins at that stage. And you just have to grow the heck out of it by experience. Now, if this is the start of a 3, as I shared with you yesterday, this is supporting the alternate scenario, by the way. Yesterday, I marked the peaks of each cycle by a star. Okay? I like it this way because it makes it look like a Christmas tree, as my kids say. And if that's the case, I showed also the trends of declining timeline: 87 days, 55, 84, 28 days, so far 25 days. Okay? If that's the case, we also see the declining height of the price on each cycle. We also saw most of them being left translated, where the peak occurred in the first half. So very little time was, or less time was spent in rising, and more time was spent in declining, which is bearish. Left translated, and meanwhile, voila, wow, we've got a right translated peak. Could we get another right translated peak? Alternate scenario says yes. Let's see what happens. Again, no one would want this more than me. But my primary count remains the same until price well exceeds decisively the 8,600 level, at which point my primary count will become invalidated and the alternate count will become the new primary count. Would I be embarrassed to have my primary count invalidated? Quite the opposite. I'll be very proud. I'll be proud to change on the dime from my primary to my alternate, because it shows that my processes for analysis are working. And I've been doing this now 21 years. Okay, August of 1997, somewhere around that time is when I started. So I've now passed my 21-year mark. Woohoo! And this process I've been doing now for almost 17 years in combination of patterns and Elliott waves. So I'm not saying the years to say that just because you've been doing it for a long time doesn't mean you get good at it, because after 5 years, I thought I was great. After 7 years, I thought I was hot shit. Now, after 21 years, I'm still realizing that I'm only improving. That's all I'm saying. So, let's see if whether we get an ABC as the primary says and decline to 5200, or we get another right translated peak. If we do get another right translated peak, that's a great sign of a trend reversal. But you know what? We better get the volume up there too. Without the volume, I'll be very suspect. All right, I hope you enjoyed the dissection of a corrective sequence today. Have a wonderful day.